Hey everyone, good morning. Dan here with my review of the Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 2, The Passenger. That's right, we are picking up immediately after Episode 1, so if you have not seen Episode 2 or even Episode 1, there's going to be spoilers, so get going and go watch it. For those of you sticking around, we're going to jump right into it. This is an interesting episode. It feels a little fillerish, but it might also be setting things up. We're going to have to end up waiting and seeing. But the basic story here takes place. It's on, we're back on Tatooine, or we're still on Tatooine. It picks up immediately after episode 1. We see him cruising through the desert on the scoop bike. He's got Boba Fett's armor. He's got the child, vice versa, whichever. And he gets attacked by a group of bounty hunters who are looking for the child. Now, one of them happens to be a Nikto, which is a group of aliens that work for the Hutt cartel. And the Hutt took over after the Empire left. So, are the Hutts hunting him because there's a bounty on him? Is it because of somebody else? Is there another person wanting the child? I mean, that's something now we have to deal with. We don't get any more about Boba Fett here. So you can forget about that if you're looking for it in this episode. That, put him aside. We'll deal with him later. Right now it's all about him getting away from these 3 bounty hunters. And he takes out the first 2. The third one, a little tiny guy, that was kind of Jawa-ish, but he's not. Puts a knife to the baby's head, and the Mandalorian offers to trade. And the guy wants the Mandalorian's jetpack. Mandalorian agrees. The creature grabs it, starts to run off with it. Mando picks up the child, hits the little thing on his wrist, and the jetpack goes flying in the air, starts flying around, controlling it remotely. Next thing you know, creature falls out of the sky. He brings the jetpack down to a nice landing. There's 2 great uses of the jetpack in this episode. That, and also when the scoop bike gets tripped by the rope, he uses it to steady himself and land on his feet. Really nicely done. Well, he heads back into Mos Eisley, finds Peli Motto playing Sabat with a Killik, who turns out knows of a woman that needs transport to another galaxy, or to another planet, and that planet is supposed to have Mandalorians on it. So he gets pulled into that. But the interesting thing about the Killik is that it's a giant ant-looking creature, and the episode is directed by Ant-Man director Peyton Reed. So that may be why they picked a Killik to be the one to give him the information. Anyway, we go to the next morning, and he has to take this woman. It's a frog lady. Now, we don't know what alien race the frog lady is. They don't tell us, and I haven't been able to find anything, but she's always just referred to as the frog lady. And she's got a container full of water with her eggs floating in them, and she needs to get to the estuary planet or moon of Trask to get her husband to fertilize them before the equinox, or their line will die out. So, of course, the child looks at the eggs and is fascinated. Well, it turns out he's fascinated because they look tasty. And the little shit eats a bunch of them through the episode. I mean, seriously, it's kind of creepy. This is the woman's eggs to save her line, and he's just popping them like Reese's Pieces. So, that part's a little creepy. Gotta tell you. Anyway, they head out, but there's one caveat, is she can't travel at warp speed or light speed. She has to use sublight. They have to travel at sublight speed, or it'll destroy the eggs. Which means a very slow trip to the planet of Trask, or the moon of Trask, and it gets the attention of 2 X-Wings who are patrolling the sector. Now, he tries to talk his way out of it, why he's not using his transponder, even says, "May the Force be with you." The problem is that one of the 2 is Trapper Wolf. Now, Trapper Wolf is one of the 3 X-Wing pilots who showed up at the prison when Mandalorian was leaving after the jailbreak. Now, he recognizes the Razor Crest, and they go after him. They put the X-Wings up, and they chase him. and he goes to this ice planet and ends up trying to get away with from them by landing and crashes into a sub-level where the ship is damaged. He's trying to repair it. The frog lady wanders off and finds a hot springs to bathe in with her eggs, and Mando goes to get her back, and the child wanders off, finds a different set of eggs to eat, and it turns out there's spider eggs, and there's a bunch of giant white spiders, the same ones from Dagobah. Yeah, now we're suddenly in the movie Arachnophobia, and they're being chased by spiders everywhere, and they're racing through the ice cave, and it's pretty intense, actually. If you don't like spiders, this is not your episode. So they chase through with the spiders, and he's using his blasters, he's using bombs, he's doing his best. He even is using his flamethrower, and this guy uses his flamethrower in every episode. All of season 1 and now in both episodes of season 2, and I'm starting to think he might be a pyromaniac, and psychologists need to look into that. Anyway, pushing that aside, staying with the story. So he gets them out, stuck into the cabin, and they're about to be overwhelmed, and a giant spider comes back, and they're going to break through, and suddenly blaster fire starts, pinpoint accuracy, shooting these things away. Turns out the 2 rebel pilots have found them, and they're standing in their cockpits with rifles, just picking off these little spiders. The way stormtroopers can't. They clear the ship. Mando comes out to find out if he's under arrest, and they're like, turns out security footage shows that you helped Lieutenant Davin, and you turned in 3 bad guys. So we're going to kind of let it go. And they take off. Mando goes back, repairs the cabin of the ship to pressurize it because the rest of the ship is screwed, and gets them out of there, and they take off to head on to their trip. And we see the woman, she's hugging her eggs, and the child looks over like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get any more, then pulls one out of his pocket and eats it. A little creepy. That kid's stomach is going to get people killed. Almost did with the spiders. You watch. This was a good episode. It was fun. There was some neat moments to it. Peyton Reed did a good job. It was pretty good writing. There's some nice little nods here and there. But there's some questions left now. Like, how did they know that Mando was there with the child, the bounty hunters? Is someone else after him? Did Pelimoto sell them out? I mean, she seems to be so nice, but money's money. So I don't know about that. It was neat seeing Paul Sung-Young Lee and Dave Filoni reprise as the 2 rebel pilots. Overall, it was a fun episode, and they're doing really neat story. But again, it felt like filler. It felt like we've stepped away from the main story. We left what we think is Boba Fett back there. It's a side story, but it's a side story that's moving us forward a little bit. And unless something comes up about those eggs, or there's another tie-in, and another callback to the prison thing was the frog lady who couldn't speak normally. Didn't have a common language. Used the Zero droid that was destroyed in that episode. That was originally voiced by Richard Iowata. I never get that name right. Was back, and he voiced just long enough to speak it. Richard Iowata. Yeah. But so that was a nice callback to that episode as well. So it does call back to episode 6 of last season, which also seemed like a filler episode. So anyway, good episode. I look forward to see what's going to happen next. But that was about it. That was your episode. So sorry this review's a little late. But hit the subscribe button, the like button, all those things, and the next one should be on Friday morning, and I should have my Mandalorian hat then too. Just my new hat. I just got it. You like it? Anyway, I hope you all have a great week. Talk to you soon.